Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for being here today because we're going to be talking about another U.S. base that has come under attack in the last 24 hours. All right, this is going to be the Al-Omar military base in eastern Syria. It came under attack by drones, okay, that were launched, I believe, from either Syria or Iraq. And there was at least one drone that landed inside of the base and exploded. And we do have some casualties here. Luckily, these are not U.S. troops that have been killed, but there were allied Kurdish fighters at this base. 6 of them were killed, okay, in the last 24 hours. This is the second time that we've had a major attack and people being killed. I'm not sure how President Biden will react to this, considering these are not exactly U.S. troops. These are Kurdish fighters, but they are allies. They are allies to the U.S. So we're going to have to see how the U.S. responds to this. Probably going to be launching some more airstrikes here pretty soon. But again, another attack on a U.S. base. This is at least the third attack since the U.S. launched their retaliatory strikes just a few days ago. So this is really big what's going on here. This is the first attack since the retaliation from the U.S. where we had actual troops killed. It's just different this time because these are Kurdish fighters. These aren't exactly Americans. So I want to show you real quick here in a photo. This is right about where the attacks happened at. So if you look at the middle of your screen, that red area, and then you see where it says Al-Omar oil field. There's like a little black line there, like a circular black line. Okay, it was in that region somewhere right there where this base is at. There's an oil field there that the U.S. operates around, and we have a military base there called the Al-Omar military base. Okay, it's very close to Iraq, Iraq's border inside of Syria. And this is where the attacks took place. So very unfortunate. We had 6 Kurdish fighters that were killed. And, luckily, though, there was no harming of U.S. soldiers. I think this would look really bad if there were to be more U.S. troops that were killed. But it's just like I said before, it's really just a matter of time here at this point because these attacks are going to continue. No matter what the U.S. does, there's going to be nothing they can do to deter these militant groups from launching these attacks. They will continue to do this no matter how many times and no matter how hard we strike them. Okay, the group that is claiming responsibility here is, again, the Islamic resistance in Iraq. Okay, so it's the same group that claimed responsibility for the drone attack at the Tower 22 military base inside eastern Jordan. Okay, so same group again, claiming responsibility. Apparently they released a video claiming responsibility for the attack, showing them launching a drone or something like that. So yeah, very terrible what happened here. I've got a little bit of information. I want to go over this article with you and just kind of read about this. This is going to be kind of a short clip. Just want to get you updated on what's going on over here. So at least 6 Kurdish fighters are killed in a drone attack on a Syrian base housing U.S. troops. A drone attack on a base housing U.S. troops in eastern Syria killed 6 allied Kurdish fighters late Sunday, in the first significant attack in Syria or Iraq since the U.S. launched retaliatory strikes over the weekend against Iran-backed militias that have been targeting its forces in the region. The U.S.-backed Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, also known as the SDF, said Monday the attack hit a training ground at Al-Omar base in Syria's eastern province of Deir el-Zor, where the force's commandos units are trained. No casualties were reported among U.S. troops. An umbrella group of Iran-backed Iraqi militias dubbed the Islamic Resistance in Iraq released a video claiming responsibility for the attack and showing them launching a drone from an unspecified location. So supposedly it's the Islamic Resistance in Iraq that's launching these drones. I believe they are actually stationed in Iraq when they were shooting these drones. So the SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces, I did see here too. So they accused Syrian regime-backed mercenaries of carrying out Sunday's attack, but in a second statement blamed Iran-backed militias after investigating the attack. So again, they're like blaming this Islamic resistance group and potentially some other Iran-backed militias too, because there's several militias in that area. It's not just the Islamic resistance, but lately a lot of the attacks that we've been seeing is from the Islamic resistance. And the SDF also said that they have the right to respond to the attack. So we're probably going to see if America doesn't respond to this, we'll probably see these Kurdish fighters try to respond and get some retaliation against these groups for launching this attack. But again, what's really bad here is that these troops, the U.S. troop bases, are still coming under attack, even though we're launching these retaliation strikes. And I understand that many people probably assumed this would happen. So did I. I assumed the same thing, that we can go launch all these strikes all we want, but it's not going to deter these groups from attacking more troops. So it's going to be very difficult what happens over here, and it's going to turn in. This is going to really turn into. This is going to turn into like what we're seeing down in Yemen. That is really going to be similar. Okay, these troop bases will keep coming under attack, and then we're going to launch strikes, just like what we're seeing in Yemen. I think this is going to turn into the same exact thing. The only thing that makes this very dangerous is this is right next to Iran. So if there ends up happening to be like some sort of mistake where a missile gets launched and it somehow goes a little bit too far into Iran and strikes Iran, and let's say it hits a building or something and injures people or something like that, we're looking at a potential war breaking out between Iran, because Iran has come out many times and they are stating that any attack on Iran's territory or their sovereignty will be met with a decisive response. Okay, so they are coming out and saying they will respond for sure if the U.S. attacks them in any way possible. So it's not good. Okay, this is not a good scenario. What's happening over here, and we actually just had Donald Trump coming out the other day, and I saw something of him saying that he was warning the citizens of the United States that it's very possible that Biden could be leading us to a war. Either a war with Iran or World War III, some sort of major war. He could be leading us to that before we even get to the election. And he's bringing that up because obviously if he gets elected, he's making a lot of claims that he will end the Ukraine war, that he will, put a stop to all these wars going on around the world, and we'll have peace. And he's claiming he can create peace, which, we did have quite a bit of peace while he was president. I will agree, compared to what we're seeing with Biden. I will definitely agree with that. Okay, so there's lots of warnings coming out right now that, this whole situation could really get bad. And here's some more proof of that. So the U.S. warns of further retaliation if Iran-backed militias continue their attacks. So right away, okay, this is just coming out today. And, the Biden administration is warning that if they continue these attacks, we are going to retaliate more. And who was it? Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. He came out and said, he was like, these militias have capabilities. We have greater capabilities, meaning we have bigger bombs, more advanced equipment, more everything. Okay, so basically saying we will hit harder than they will hit us. Every single time they hit us, we will hit them harder than they hit us. So what is that going to lead to? It's just going to lead to more escalation, more problems throughout the Middle East. And the U.S. keeps claiming, along with Iran, they're all claiming that they don't want war with each other, they don't want escalation or anything like that, and that this is all purely self-defense. But at the same time, it's really not self-defense when the U.S. is going and bombing all these countries. When they're bombing Syria and bombing Iraq, it's just, it doesn't make any sense to really call it self-defense when you're technically bombing another country and escalating the conflict. It is self-defense in a sense, but at the same time, it's escalation. So it's an issue, right? It's a very big issue. So in response to the drone strike that killed 3 U.S. servicemen in Jordan last weekend, an airstrike was launched in Iraq and Syria on Friday against additional Iranian-backed militias and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Following a weekend of retaliatory strikes, The U.S. warned Iran and the militias it equips to and funds that if American personnel in the Middle East are targeted again, it will launch additional operations, but it does not seek a open-ended military campaign in the area. So there you go right there. The U.S. is going to be responding very soon because it says right here they will launch additional operations if American personnel are targeted. Okay, so yes, we didn't have U.S. troops that were killed at the base. There were 6 Kurdish fighters that were killed at the Al-Omar military base, but it still was an attack on U.S. troops. So we're most likely going to be seeing more bombing runs over here and airstrikes inside of Iraq and Syria again here very soon. All right, but they did state here they do not seek an open-ended military campaign. So that basically means they don't want to continue this forever. This is just for right now, and they don't want this to go on for a very, very long time. But in reality, I think it is going to go on for a long time, at least for several more months, at least for 3 months, maybe 6 months, possibly till the end of the year this is going to continue. And why will this continue? Well, we just had word that Netanyahu came out and said they're going to be finished eliminating Hamas within months. Okay, so they didn't specify how long, they just said months. So it could be all the way as high as 11 months, okay? It could be 12 months. So it's going to be a while here before they finish up in Gaza. So that means the U.S. is going to continue to be under attack until then. We are prepared to deal with anything that any group or country tries to come at us with, said Jake Sullivan, President Joe Biden's national security advisor. Sullivan said Iran should expect a swift and forceful response if it and not one of its proxies chose to respond directly against the U.S. So there it is. I put a video out on that just yesterday, too, of Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor for the U.S. He did state that if Iran attacks directly against the U.S., they will be met with a swift and forceful response. So, go ahead and speculate there what that response might be, but I think most of us know what kind of response it would be. And again, I've been speculating that this may be the opportunity for the U.S. to finally go after Iran and their nuclear program. So don't be surprised if the U.S. just out of nowhere starts launching strikes inside of Iran and potentially even nuclear strikes. I know that may sound crazy, but understand this. The nuclear facilities that are inside of Iran are deep in underground bunkers, primarily in the mountains of Iran. So there's no bunker buster bombs. There's no anything conventional that can possibly dig down deep enough into those mountains to take those out other than a potential nuclear bomb. All right. So if they really wanted to get rid of them, that might be the way to do it, other than a ground operation that I don't think would go very good because the U.S. does not have nearly the capabilities that they used to. And the military is very short on troops. It's everything is just a mess with the military right now. Don't expect them to go in boots on the ground on Iran anytime soon. And if they did, it would honestly shock me. Okay, so once again, more escalation going on over here, and this is going to continue. I really hope more troops don't get killed, but there's a very big possibility that more of them could get killed here because these bases will continue to become under attack almost every day, is what it seems like. At least we're hearing about these attacks at least 2, 3, 4 times a week, okay? With Yemen and Iraq and Syria, all these areas are just constantly getting hit and attacked by drones and missiles. So it's bound to happen again, ladies and gentlemen. It's bound to happen again. And I'm not calling for violence. I'm not saying anything like that. But I think it's just very obvious. I think all of us understand that this whole thing over here is going to continue. And the longer that it continues, the longer that these attacks continue, the more likely we will have more U.S. troops killed. And it's only going to make things worse in this region. It's only going to destabilize the Middle East even more because the U.S. will continue launching bigger attacks and bigger attacks. And at some point, they're going to have to go after the source. Go ahead and comment down below who the source is. Let me know what you're thinking. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Really appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video. And if you want to follow my content some more, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that way YouTube can notify you as soon as a new video is live. So appreciate you guys being here. Be safe out there. We'll see you guys all in the next one. Everybody take care. God bless and have a great day.